Everyone tells you renting in Australia is expensive. And they're right. But what if I told you that there's a loophole where you can live rent-free here in Australia? Keep watching because I'll show you exactly how people are doing it. If you're new to this channel, hello, I'm John. And I used to be a student migrant who's now an asset manager for a real estate company. So if this video helps you out, please like and subscribe so that we can continue making videos like this. Right now, there's a housing crisis in Australia. That means that there's too many people but not enough accommodation. According to a recent data from domain.com.au, average rental prices for houses in Australia is currently at $650 per week for all combined major cities. However, if you look at Sydney, it's currently at $775 per week, while Melbourne is at $580 per week. Now, if you're looking for something more affordable, then you might want to have a look at this data for the average weekly rent on units. As you can see, all major combined cities is still at $650. However, Sydney is currently sitting at $725 and Melbourne is at $575. Now remember, this is just averages. You don't necessarily need to pay the exact amount that's listed in both pages. Depending on the suburb and your preferences, you can definitely find a good deal. So you might be asking, where do I find these rental properties? In Australia, there are 4 major platforms. One is realestate.com.au, domain.com.au, homely.com.au, and rent.com.au. You can search, apply, and inquire through these platforms. Now, a few people have asked me, do you only need to pay the weekly rent to get this lease? The short answer is no. There are upfront costs before you even move into these kinds of property. Let me break it down for you. Now, we're going to use an example of $500 per week for an accommodation. You're gonna have to pay for your TICA check. Now, TICA is a rental registry body that shows if you have issues on your rental history or not. Number 2 is your bond. In Australia, there's an independent body called Rental Bonds Online that holds your bond for you. Now, these bonds usually costs 4 weeks of your weekly rent. And number 3 is advance rent. Normally, real estate agents would ask you for 2 weeks paid in advance. However, there are some cases where they're going to ask you for 4 weeks rent in advance. So between all these 3, you're looking at around 8 weeks rent upfront cost. So you need to make sure that you're prepared for this before you even rent. Now, a lot of new migrants can't get a lease because they don't have any rental history. But there are alternatives. You can look at shared places where you can share a room in a house or a unit. Now, if you're really trying to save money, I know someone back then who used to stay with 11 people on a 2-bedroom apartment. I wouldn't suggest that though. For these options, the platforms that you need to look at is Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, or flatmates.com.au. Prices for these kinds of accommodation is usually around $200 per week to $450 per week per room. And that is depending on location. The good thing is utilities are often split between all parties. And if you're lucky, utilities can be included in your rent. And this type of accommodation usually are furnished, which means you only need to get your blanket and pillows. But what if this is still too expensive for you? Most people don't know this, but in Australia, you can actually live rent-free. If you want to try something wild, this lifestyle is actually becoming a lot more popular here in Australia, especially because the rent is too high and the current rental crisis that we have. But before you start thinking that this is too crazy, yes, it's legal in many parts of Australia. If you buy an old van, fix it up, put a bed on it, and even put a little cooking area, then you're ready to go. It doesn't need to be fancy, it just needs to be safe and comfortable for you. A lot of students are actually doing this, including the backpackers here in Australia. Now, if you're wondering where you can actually stay, you might want to check signs and apps that will show you where you can park your van. Some of this would be the free camps and rest areas, which is located all around in Australia, and roadside stops. There's also the option of low-cost campground where you're gonna have to pay a little amount of money, but you'll have better facilities. And last but not the least would be parking lots. You can go for big supermarkets, or shopping centers. However, most of these establishments don't allow you to park overnight, so you need to be careful. Now, you might be wondering, where do I go for toilets and showers? These are available in many rest areas, beaches, and some visitor centers. And here's a little hack. Back then, when I was living in a dormitory-style accommodation where all the toilets and showers are shared between all residents, I used to go to my gym membership to take a shower and iron my clothes. Obviously, this is after I work out. Of course, van life is not for everyone. It's simple, flexible, and can save you thousands and thousands of dollars in rent. But it do have its challenges. So if you're adventurous and want to save a lot of money here in Australia, then this option might be for you. Now come a little bit closer, because what I'm about to tell you is really important. There's a big difference on just surviving and thriving here in Australia if you're a migrant. A lot of the people that comes here usually just survive. Very few people are willing to sacrifice and do whatever it takes for them to be able to have a better life here in Australia. Now, if I knew all these informations back then I would have been able to save a lot of money. Living rent-free is not something to look down upon. The reason why is because if you're going to talk about math, we can say that a student pays $200 a week to $450 a week on rent. Now, if you multiply that all throughout the year, then that's 52 weeks, which means that's going to be roughly around $10,400 a year to $20,000 for a $400 a week rent. It's a lot of money that you could have invested or saved or paid for your tuition. The truth is, the reason why I'm trying to share this knowledge to everyone is because back then, I was hoping that there was someone who's going to give me a guideline on how I can achieve my goals in Australia as a student migrant. It's really up to you. Henry Ford said, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, either way, you're right. So let's quickly go over what we've discussed. Number one, we looked at the average rent prices in each city. Number two is the best platforms where you can find these rental accommodations. Number three is we discussed about the upfront costs on these rental properties. Number four is an alternative rental property, which is shared accommodation. And number five is the van lifestyle, where you can live rent-free here in Australia. I hope this video helped you, and let me know which city you're moving into. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. And if this video helped you out, please like and subscribe so I can continue providing valuable information for people like us.